Hello and welcome to the Long Island Weather Update. It is June the 12th, 2024, and once again, a lot of clouds building up over our area today again. And you can see them all there. We had that cloud build up again, which temperatures were a little warmer than yesterday, but not really by all that much. But things are going to start really heating up as we get into especially Friday and then next week. Looking across the country now, you can see that we do have some severe weather now. It seems like it's the the western Great Lakes area to deal with severe weather, with tornado watches in. It seems like it's Minnesota, tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches in Minnesota right now, and we're going to get to that in a moment here. But it looks like there might be a tornado warning in there. In there, it looks like there's an triangle. Let's just take this off here and take a look and see if we got a warning. Yes, there we do have one tornado warning right now, so definitely a little more active than yesterday with the severe weather. And then you can see heat advisories, another severe thunderstorm watch in looks like eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. And again, I see some warnings there, so let's see what we've got as far as warnings. We have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings over there as well. So and you can see heat still an issue in Arizona and the west, but that heat is going to be shifting to the east. As we head, you can see a lot of air quality alerts in effect too, which means poor quality air is going to be moving in over the next couple of days. And look at Florida dealing with flood warnings and watches. It is a big mess over there in Florida as well. First, let's go to our weather today, and you'll see temperatures are generally in the mid 60s across the area. Of course, not in my alley; it's in the low 70s. But we got mid 60s generally out there, so it'll be the last kind of somewhat comfortable night. You see the dew points are already starting to rise to around 60 degrees. So let's go look at our highs for the day. And temperatures across Long Island generally mid 70s. Oddly enough, a little warmer out east where there's actually a little more sun, especially on the South Fork. Or 79 at West Hampton. What do you see that? West Hampton being warmer than Islip or Farmingdale with mid-70s. That's because they had more sunshine over there. And you can see also LaGuardia got up to close to 80 degrees, 75 in the city. And we're about New Jersey, upper 70s to around 80 there. So a little bit warmer. But again, that cloud cover kind of kept temperatures down. For lows, generally the Pine Barrens areas did get into the 50s. Everywhere else, not as cool last night with low to mid-60s. Except for the Pine Barrens, they dropped into the mid-50s. Let's look at our climate statistics for today, and we got a lot more to talk about tonight. Than we have more models to look at the severe weather threat for Friday, and we're gonna go over those as well. 75 for a high at Islip, at a low of 60, right at normal, zeros. So right at normal. Central Park, high of 76 and a low of 61, 2 degrees below normal, but again, fairly close to normal for the day. And again, this is our satellite image here, and you can see all the cloud buildup that we had today. Let's take this to a little bit of a larger, let's go to the CONUS view, so you can see exactly, it kind of shows what's going on. You see all that tropical moisture over Florida here. You can see those bright white cloud tops, as well as the bright white cloud tops from the severe thunderstorms over Minnesota and eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. Let's put this to the... So you can see, again, this kind of shows what's going on here. And you can see also a little bit of smoke. So maybe some poor air quality here. Just looks like a little bit of haze in the air and over the southeast. Not a surprise. But this here, this is a big area here, the tropical development here, that we're going to have to watch. So if I go to the, let's take the paint tool here, and we can kind of, let me just clear this out here. This whole area right here could be Alberto. I think that would be our first, yeah, I can't really write very good, but this could be our first tropical, named tropical system. It's already an invest. So that is something that we have to watch. It is already an invest, and like I said, it's soaking Florida with tremendous rain. So let's look at the radar right now. Actually, I want to just put this on the lightning. Kind of shows where the lightning how the lightning intensity is. And these are thunderstorms too, by the way. that hitting. Look at all the lightning there over the southern part of Florida. They're getting hammered with a lot of lightning there as well. Actually, more lightning there than where the severe weather is up in Minnesota. So let's go look at the radar. And you can see here, it says South Florida underwater after 17 inches of rain in 24 hours. 20 inches of rain in 24 hours. This is unbelievable. So there's nowhere for the water to go. Florida is very low-lying, and this is going to be a major disaster for southern Florida that's going on right now with these tropical rains. It's unbelievable. So this is what's going on. You can see this is conveyor belt of heavy rain, especially it seems like from Miami on south. The Keys all getting hammered with this heavy, heavy rain, and there's nowhere for the water to go. So let's go to our weather and hazards map, and we'll take us over to Florida here, show you what's going on here, because this is a pretty bad situation here, and I'm sure it's also very humid as well. You can get some dew points here. You can see dew points up there. Rain. It's just a soaker, constantly a soaker. So let's look at precipitation, and we'll start with 6-hour precipitation. And this is how much they've gotten in the past 6 hours in Florida. I mean, this is a month's worth of rain in 6 hours that they've gotten in some of these sites, 4.02. But now, let's go to 24 hours. Now we have some areas that are over 10 inches, a foot of rain in some of these areas in western Florida, too. So Florida is really just getting hammered. The southern part, I would say anything from south of Lake Okeechobee is just getting hammered with this heavy, heavy rain. And if we take this to the 48-hour, take a look at this. I mean, yeah, this is unbelievable, folks. So this is a major disaster that's occurring in Florida right now. And this is unheard of. They were in a drought now. That drought is a distant memory, and now they're dealing with tremendous amounts of rain, and there's still more rain to come. So this is unbelievable. It's overperforming, no surprise. And it's all because of the warmer than normal sea surface temperatures. So let's go to the Hurricane Center and talk about the latest invest that they're watching here. And this is it right here, disturbance, saying 20% chance of cyclone formation in 48 hours. So this is the disturbance right here that we have. And they are watching it. And right now they don't have a page for it. I don't think they have a page for it yet. Let's see if they have a page for it. They don't have a page for it yet, but they are watching this. They only say 20%, but let's take a look at how warm these ocean temperatures are. Let's go to Earth and Old School and talk about how much above normal the water temperatures are, particularly around Florida. And this is why some people want to move to Florida, but you are going to be right into the wrath of some of the worst that the climate crisis has to offer if you want to live in Florida. So look at these bright yellows. These temperatures are way above normal in the Gulf. And you can see much of the Atlantic also way above normal as well. So this doesn't bode well, even by us off the coast. And then look at the whole Atlantic here. This is just primed. We just have to wait for the upper air to cooperate. Primed to just be a very, very catastrophic hurricane season, especially if we have a lot of landfalling storms. So, I have very, very grave concerns about this season. All right. And I know a lot of people have been talking about it. So we look at the sea surface temperature anomaly here. You'll see here that it's 5 degrees above normal here. So I'm just going to take this down a little bit. 5.6 degrees above normal in that spot there. So 5.6 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. That is significant departure. So when we look at the actual sea surface temperature in this spot, it's 85 degrees, and there are hotter sea surface temperatures. How about 87? The purples you see here on the map, almost near 90. So imagine water temperatures near 90, and it's only early June. We've got a long way to go, and this is what we're seeing. These are the direct effects of the warmer than normal oceans that we're seeing over Florida, causing all this rain, and it's just really incredible to see what's going on in Florida. It really is, and I have friends down there, and I hope they're doing okay, because it's a really bad situation in Florida right now. Major disasters, lots of flooding. We're going to go and look at the maps, actually, and just go to South Florida and talk about it. And I know they have very good infrastructure with the electricity, but when it comes to getting this amount of rain in such a short amount of time, there's really not much that can handle it. So let's put this on traffic here, and we'll see if we have any road closures here, because we do have reports of. I'm sure that there's going to be. I'm surprised that these roads are open, considering the amount of rain that has fallen. Like I said, Florida does have very good infrastructure to handle these kind of things, but this is a lot of rain. I don't see any. All right, we do have some closures here. What's this? Road closed. All right, that's just construction. So we're looking for flooding or reports of flooding. I'm sure there's plenty. We have another one here. Road closure. So this probably could be due to flooding, where you see all these red markers. Also, it looks like road closed in here. So we do have flooding being reported in some of these areas, probably where you see all those red. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them here. Even further up, road closure over here too. So yeah, a lot of roads closed here. This is a bad. It's actually worse further north. What's this? Road closed. I-95's closed. Oh boy, this is not good. Well, maybe it's just construction. I don't know. But, again, a bad situation there with all the rain they're getting. It's really very, very catastrophic. So when we go to our weather map here, you see what we have here. A stalled-out frontal boundary and a very warm ocean, and the moisture is just... You have still have that subtropical jet now over Florida. Fortunately, we have high pressure over us, keeping the storminess away. But that high is going to start moving offshore, and that's going to bring a return flow of warmer air. This is our cold front for Friday. That's over here right now. And let's go to the day 2 and day 3. So you move this along. You'd see one thing you notice is that Florida is stuck in this stalled front syndrome, and it's gonna keep on raining. And for us, we have to watch out for thunderstorms and possibly severe thunderstorms on Friday. We look at QPF, the amount of rain, excessive rain. We're going to go to this tab here. You can see Florida is definitely in the yellow here, and they're going to stay there for a while. And that's the problem. So we go to QPF here. This is just day 1. Day 2, I mean, another, it really doesn't start getting better until the weekend. So they've got this whole week is going to just be a torrential soaker for Florida. It's absolutely incredible to see this. Storm Prediction Center. And again, I'm going to just go to the day through 1 through 7, so it kind of gives you an idea of where all that heavy rain falls. So again, they're still saying another 5 inches of rain for Florida, and honestly, it could be more. It could very well be more. That's an incredible. Imagine if that amount of rain fell here. So just imagine what's going on over there. It's just absolutely incredible, and just another sign of the kind of trouble we're in with this planet, as we live in a warmer world with warmer oceans. So let's look at the Storm Prediction Center, and you see there's that slight risk up in the, again, that over that Minnesota area there. And we move it to tomorrow. Let's go to tomorrow's outlook here, day 2. I'll just go click on this here so we can move it along this way. So if we go to the day 2, you see that now we see an enhanced risk for severe weather now into more of Missouri and Iowa, and parts of Illinois, and that stretches back into Kansas. And then we go to day 3, and look what happens for us. So now they've got a slight risk for severe weather just to our northwest. So Hudson Valley, northern New Jersey, Connecticut, and then we're in a marginal risk. So Friday, because we have a pretty strong cold front coming through and a very warm, humid air mass, this could be the trigger for some substantial severe thunderstorms. So let's look at the models now, and we're going to first start with the GFS, and we're going to cover from now through I guess Friday into maybe the first part of Saturday, because look at what the GFS is doing. First of all, this is your tropical. This could become something. All right, some of the models saying this could become something. This could become a named storm right here. Be our first storm of the season, considering the warm ocean waters. It wouldn't surprise me. And then, well, fortunately, the way the jet stream is, we have this trough that's going to come and pick it up and push it out, and then we have the high pressure for us over the weekend. All right. But this, again, this is going to have to be watched, and I'm going to just go over several models here. Let's look at what the Icon is doing here. And Icon also, you can see Icon wraps it up pretty good, actually. Um, off of Long Island on Saturday. All right. The European. Let's look at the European here. European also, it sort of wraps it up a little bit. It's really interesting. And we can go to the AI as well. So they're all doing it. All the models are developing this thing into something. It's going to be out over the ocean, but it's still developing it over to something. So when we look at the total accumulated precip again for Florida, take a look at this. So through Saturday, how about under the 5 to 6 inches of rain? That's what the Euro says. GFS, a little less. I think the GFS might be underdoing it. So there's going to be a lot more rain to come because of all this tropical moisture that we have. And if we go look at the 700 to 300 relative humidity, you'll see this kind of shows all of what we have here. Those dark greens that have been over Florida are going to pretty much stay over South Florida. The northern half of the state isn't dealing with, but even as we get into the weekend, still see the green there. So no, they won't really be drying out even on the weekend that much. As for us, we're pretty much staying in the drier air, though we do get into a little bit of that moisture on Friday with this front that comes through, and then the push for dry air on the weekend. We're going to go to the upper air now. So, and here's that trough again. It's going to come in on the weekend. See that trough? That's what's going to push that moisture offshore. But meanwhile, you still have this front that's stalled out over Florida. Now, the thing why we haven't seen any development yet is because there's just not a really big ridge in the Atlantic yet that would help that to happen. But we're going to start seeing that as we get to next week. And as we go look at next week, which I'll show you. Let's go to a little bit further out. Let's look at the North American view here. All right. As you go to the next week, you see that ridge that's going to develop over here. And that is going to lead to, notice how there's more ridging now over the Atlantic, which is going to help. Right now, we don't have that. If we go to now, you'll see that there really isn't any strong ridging in the Atlantic yet. All right. We're going to also look at the wind as well. And you'll still see that there's conditions aren't quite favorable yet for formation yet of anything yet. But again, this system here that we have to watch here, this could still become something. And it wouldn't surprise me if it does. So now we have a general idea of the patterns. Let's go back to the CONUS view and we'll look at dew points, kind of show you the fronts and the humidity as to what's going to happen. So as we get into this week, you'll see here that we start the remaining part of the week. You see the dew points come up. We get into that humidity. Cold front comes through, pushes it down, back down on the weekend, but then it builds back into our area. Next week, we're going to really be, you can see all the heat and the humidity that we're going to be dealing with, though it looks like it's trying to show a backdoor eventually. Maybe it might save us, but we got enough to talk about in the short range, so I don't want to talk too much about the long range here. So let's go to the HRRR. Dew points and wind flow. We're going to first start with that. All right. So you can see the southwesterly flow for tomorrow, and you can see southwesterly flow. That's a direction that's going to be warmer. We shouldn't have as many clouds around. So as far as the low sun blocking clouds, so we're going to have more sunshine tomorrow, and that's going to help the temperatures get up there. Of course, there will be a sea breeze on the south shore, but inland you're probably going to roast. And the dew points aren't too bad. They're a little higher, but nothing terrible yet. And then the winds go back to, on Friday, we have another, it looks like a little more of a southerly flow. So that would save Long Island from the worst of the heat if we have a southerly flow. But you'll notice the humidity definitely is up there quite a bit. Looking at temperatures, tonight, we're probably not going to drop that much tonight. I think maybe low 60s do it. I don't think we're going to see the 50s we saw last night. And then tomorrow, you see a lot hotter, especially inland, probably mid to upper 80s. Maybe even a 90-degree reading in Jersey. For Long Island, probably generally low 80s, though it could be closer to the mid-80s in western Nassau. And then the sea breezes drop things. Tomorrow night, we're going to probably mainly be only in the 60s. And then for Friday, you can see how things are going to heat up again, especially inland, probably near 90. For Long Island, probably low to mid 80s, probably. And there's that front coming through. That cool down there is the line of thunderstorms that the HRRR is developing. So let's go and look at that. Obviously, not much activity through tomorrow. But as we get into Friday, you'll see there looks like a little area of showers in the early morning hours, perhaps. And then here comes the cold front. And, yeah, it's got a line. It looks like it develops a line right over New York City. But then as it hits the sea breeze, it kind of fizzles out. But we'll see sometimes the models show it fizzling out, and it doesn't fizzle out at all. So keep that in mind. We don't have really a good V with this front, but it's just because the division of the air masses is conducive to severe weather. The atmosphere it's going to be very humid, and you have this colder air that's going to be colliding with this humid air. So that could, enhance any severe thunderstorm activity. That's what the HRRR is showing anyway. Let's jump on over to the NAM3. I know I'm not going to have enough of the 0Z NAM3, but we can look at the 18Z NAM3, which is a lot more impressive with this line than the HRRR. So you see there's the line coming through. And again, it looks like 22Z. So figure around 6 o'clock, it's coming into New York City and crossing Long Island around 7 to 8 o'clock. And it's holding it together. It's keeping it held together. Now take a look at this. There's your tropical system right there. This could be our first tropical storm right here, looking at it. So we'll have some more models to look at tomorrow, but it's not, there's not going to be anything too intense as far as wind goes. Let's look at wind here. There's not going to be nothing crazy with the winds. Well, it's got a nice wind field to it, so we'll have to see what happens. This could actually wind up causing some high surf for us, perhaps. But right now, it's kind of early to say what's going to happen for that. I'm a little more concerned about the severe weather threat that we're going to be facing for your Friday. So let's go over to the RGEM next. And we'll go ahead and look at the skies, because this is the other thing that we're going to show you. So here's the skies, and you can see there'll be a little cirrus around tomorrow, but, probably some jet junk, but there'll be more sunshine, not as many of those low clouds. So that's why I think it'll be warmer. And then for Friday, start off maybe with some clouds in the morning, and then the sun comes out, and then we have this front approach that will bring the showers and thunderstorms. We'll go ahead and look at and then we clear it out for Saturday pretty nicely, though. Again, can't rule out pop-up cumulus perhaps behind that front. Let's look at the RGEM as far as thunderstorms. Let's see what this does. Yeah, it's not terribly impressive. Not terribly impressive. All right, I don't think the HDRPS is going to take us that far out. Yeah, it does not. But anyway, now that we've looked at all that, let's go over to the Ventu sky, and we're going to look at, again, the thunderstorm threat for Friday. And we're going to actually go to visualize this. You can see there's a strong southerly flow, which generally would keep Long Island cooler, whereas Jersey you're going to roast. But let's go to the thunderstorm threat and look at Cape, all right? Because there is decent Cape over New Jersey, not so much over us. It's showing most of it going to stay over New Jersey. So, like I said, north and west, where there's a less influence from the ocean that helps stabilize things, would wind up seeing a better thunderstorm threat over there. But I still think we got to pay attention, and I think it's going to be right around the dinner hour on Friday that we're going to be looking at this. Looking at this threat here. Lifted index also higher to the west and the north. So you see that here already. And we'll have a better idea, I think, tomorrow as to this. Now, I want to talk a little more about Florida. We're going to go to windy.com, and we're going to just look at that tropical system and see what this does. Because this is based on the European. Oh, look at that. It really shows it nicely. Look at that. There it is. This is the European, and it's showing a tropical storm off the Carolina coast here Friday afternoon, with wind gusts of 41, winds sustained at 41 miles an hour. Like I said, it's got plenty of warm water to work with, and I think this could wind up being our first named storm of the year. And this is just the sustained winds. If I go to the gusts, go over here, go to the menu, and we pick wind gusts here. Oh, yeah, look at this. So, yeah, there could be some pretty strong wind gusts around this thing. So, Yeah, we got that warm water. Don't underestimate the strength of what that warm water can do. And yes, it could hit Nova Scotia again. And they've been talking about this, that Nova Scotia is becoming a hot spot for hurricanes and tropical storms. And this could wind up hitting the Canadian Maritimes on Sunday into Monday and causing problems there as well. So, yeah, that's definitely definitely a concern for sure. Let's just look at one more thing, and that is the seas. Yeah, waves. All right, and we're going to see if we get affected by this at all. I think, yeah, we shouldn't be affected by these seas, but look at some of the seas in the storm. Yeah, close to 20-foot waves. So, again, this is going to be a very, very active season. Everybody's been talking about it, and it's not really a surprise to me that we're going to be seeing this kind of high activity. Let's just go to the southeast and tropical tidbits and take a look at Florida here, all right, and show you what the models are doing there. HRRR first. Show you this, because a lot of New Yorkers have moved to Florida, and again, you can see there, heavy rain there, kind of moving away, and then another batch develops tomorrow. Looks like another line of thunderstorms. You basically have like a stalled front there, so you keep getting these lines of thunderstorms that just keep popping up. So let's see what the HRRR has for total rainfall here, and oh yeah, look at that. Some of those areas in yellow could see another foot of rain, maybe even more than that. So, yeah, this is not over yet. This is not over by a long shot, and there's going to be a lot of flooding, and it's going to be very costly for a lot of people. It's going to be a very costly disaster. As we deal with Delta, another bad, as Paul Beckwith likes to say, this is the climate casino. And Florida is now getting a really bad losing hand in the climate casino. But, we've been lucky so far, but, our luck will run out. And, it will happen it will happen. And, we're going to be dealing with a tropical system heading this way again. And the next one will be a lot worse than Sandy. Sandy was, it's the track that made Sandy unusual, but it was barely a hurricane. Let's now, if you had a Category 3 hurricane take the track Sandy did, that would make Sandy look like nothing. I'll tell you that right now. So, it could happen. So, that is all for now. Have a good night. And we'll have more information on our severe weather threat for Friday tomorrow night. Have a good night.